Hello, everyone, and welcome to Zest with me, Shel Marie, the podcast that will take you on a journey from the hustle to the harmony, fueling your passion whilst finding your peace. Today, I have the absolute honor of introducing someone whose presence is as impactful as her purpose. Nekita Paul, widely known as Koach Kitah, is a woman of deep courage, conviction, and compassion. She is a respected charity lawyer, certified public speaker, and transformational coach who's made it her mission to help others unlearn their limits and unlock lasting freedom. As the founder of Koach Kitah, her coaching academy, and the visionary behind empoweringallwomen.org, she supports women across the globe in breaking through beliefs that hold them back, helping them rise with empowerment, purpose, and renewed trust. She's also the author of How to Empower Yourself and Get More Out of Life, a powerful guide for those ready to claim the change they crave. Certified through the Speak Up Challenge, which she will, I'm sure, speak about in this episode, she represents a new wave of world-class coaches who are turning personal growth into global impact. This is super important. She truly is a force for good, leading with her heart, her wisdom, and her unwavering devotion to uplift others. Everything I absolutely love and adore. So already I know this conversation will be an inspiring, as yet energizing discussion. Let's dive in. Welcome, Nekita.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity.
You are so welcome. And as I said before we pushed record, you look absolutely fabulous, my darling. Wow, really, really. I love especially your statement glasses, which shows, because I believe that how we represent ourselves says a lot about our inner courage and strength and how, we show up in the world. And I feel like you're bold, you're bright, and you're just dazzling. So it's really lovely to connect with you. So to really pull it back, and something that really struck me in your bio was from law to empowerment, courtroom to coaching. Where did that all begin? How did that all start?
I know. So I'm typically an example of practicing what I preach. Oof. So part of what I, speak to women about is not just being one-dimensional. I believe that we all have multiple talents that were God given to us. So we don't have to just be a mom and nothing else. We don't just have to be a lawyer and nothing else. We have so much potential. Other things, we can still do other things alongside our careers, especially things we're passionate about. So yes, I'm a lawyer, charity lawyer. I'm passionate about that, but I'm more passionate about empowering women. I believe that's my God-given, mission, because I come alive when I'm doing that. And I don't think there's anything else that I, come alive that much when I'm doing. And I think those are the signs that that you're called to do this. Absolutely. And I speak to women and say, I wear many hats because I want to make sure all the talents I've been given, I will use them. I don't want to go back to heaven without with some of the stuff, not completed.
Wow. Wow, just in that, so empowering. And a visual that came through really clearly to me while you were saying that is actually, to have an empowerment coach as someone representing you in a courtroom. Come on. Amazing.
Exactly. So, imagine the passion behind that. Yes.
Absolutely. And I feel that and I really love that you touch on that as someone else who, as you say, we're not one-dimensional, we're multi-dimensional, which I believe in as well. But as someone else who also, uses the word empowerment in how I define myself, I really relate to you because it isn't a label, it isn't a title, it's a being, it's an embodiment, it's a doing. It's, even I'm sure you can relate to this of someone. I think too much we're focusing on how long you've had the qualification, how much experience you have. No, sometimes it's much more than that. Sometimes, you know what? Through experiences and what you've been through, and to the point that you've got up today, not everyone, but usually you can read a book, you can sign up for a course, but actually it's often something that's just within you and that you show up as every day. So with that in mind, and you're incredible, because speaking to you, knowing you, and knowing this is not just something you call yourself, this is a passion. How do you infuse that into getting people ready to be those coaches that embody it, not just it's separate to the person that they are?
So, because we're different kinds of people, first of all, I walk the walk so people can see that this is the way it's done. So I'm leading on what I'm talking about. Because it's one thing talking about doing something and you're not doing it. Showing up anywhere I go as, somebody that has been through that transformation myself, and I share my story all the time. And I share how limiting beliefs held me back for so long and how I broke free and how I'm unapologetic. It's in my spoken word, it's in my behavior, and that's half of my job done. Yeah. And then I also, put down the blueprint of how I did it. So what it is people can say, okay, that doesn't sound so bad. I probably can do that. And they start to, in safe spaces, start trying those things. I encourage them to try those things. No pressure. Nobody's marking you a script. You do it at your own time. What is it that, you know where you want to go? This is your goal. What is it that you think you can do for now? Baby steps. You will get there, and that's how I think a lot of the people that I've impacted, I've got them round. There's no pressure. This can be done. This is how I did it. Take your time. I'm here to hold your hand. I'm here to support you. I'm here for you to bounce off. Apart from me, I have other examples of women that have been through the same. It's not unique to me. There are other people that have journeyed this way. If you can't get anything from my journey, you can get something from their journey, and so on and so forth. And that has worked most of the time.
Oh my gosh, there's so much greatness, and just in the delivery of your words, it really is. And it's not just a word, it's actually a being. Like, you are seriously empowering with the way you are dropping your words and the way you are showing up, and it's really, I admire you for it. And what I really love that you mentioned, which I think is super important, is that you said you offer a space for people to almost practice. Because we can go to these motivational, speaking events and talks, and we can listen to an incredible woman like yourself and her story. Whether we relate to it, understand it or not, it's irrelevant. It's the feeling we get inside. But there's very much, like what you said of the hand holding, there's very much a big difference between being in that environment where you feel fueled, you feel passionate, and then it's all gone. What do I do now? So I really, really love, and I think that is the real gem. The ticket is, for me, it's much more than just a certificate. It's the process and the embodiment and what you're going to achieve at the end when you're ready, because we're all on different timelines, we're all at different points. And another thing that I really love that you mentioned is um, for example, like when people hear different people's stories, it does not actually matter whether you think that's not a big thing or not, because it's their story. And for them, that sparked something, whether empowering or disempowering, inside them that shook them and had a pivotal change in their life. So more than the story, we should focus on the feeling and the impact. And that's what I really feel from you. So I love that. Amazing. So, yeah, so I know you touched on it, but to just add a little bit more of, say women are exploring this idea and that they're thinking about, is this for me? Is this not for me? How do I know? What advice would you give to maybe women that are at this point where they are a little bit in between and unsure, or maybe afraid to be seen and heard, and they have, like what you so wisely mentioned, all this programming, all these stories that are essentially the actual things holding them back? What advice would you give to them?
So, I would say to them, start small, start in a safe space, test it out with people that you're comfortable with, people that won't judge you. I have a safe space of women, like where people just come and be themselves and say things that are maybe issues that that are bothering them, and they just want advice. So creating those kind of safe spaces, from there, encourage them to launch on other things. So one of those safe spaces was how I even first started with my Empowering All Women charity and all that. It was about a safe space of women coming to, speak their mind and not being judged. Because a lot of the time, when we judge ourselves, whether we know it or not, because we all feel that there's a standard of how we should be, but there isn't, because we're all from different walks of life, different backstories, different journeys. So who sets how you should be when there are just so many shades? So you being comfortable in your own skin. And once you take away that judgment, which is a lot of where the fear comes from, being judged, being looked upon as different. So it's almost like a freeing of your mind, because most of the limitations are up here, of course, we know that.
Course, yeah.
So if you're comfortable in your own skin, you're past caring what the next person thinks. You don't care anymore if they think you're different. I mean, when I first started, I used to get people come tell me, I like you because you're different. You're not like, I'm like, that's just me. I have to be true to myself. If you call it different, that's your opinion. I'm just being me, and that's what I kind of transmit to these women. Be you. There's no other you in this whole wide world. Do you. You're a queen in your own right. Be comfortable in your own skin. People will see that confidence and begin to appreciate you for however you present.
Beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. And I would love your opinion on this. One thing I really noticed is, particularly when we are navigating through this, and there is actually, I'd love your view on this, that there's a point where you are almost like, is this me? Is this actually me, or is this not me? Because there's so much programming. There was so much like, be a good girl, people pleaser, all this stuff. Then you're like, am I now creating a new version that's too outspoken, to this, to that? So I feel like it's a process. You need to go through it. But deep down within you, you kind of always know. You kind of know at that moment where you go to and you feel like, oh, okay, wow, there's something inside me again that just didn't feel right to me, how you just spoke to me, or how this, or you're too sensitive, or all this, or, all this programming. So I would love to know, like, what advice would you give, particularly to women, just because I know that you're very passionate about empowering all women. When you're kind of going through that, of you're almost unsure of whether this identity that you worked so hard to create, knowingly or unknowingly, but knowing that you see something maybe in another, or you feel something within yourself of this one, how do you navigate through that? What advice would you give them?
Okay, so if I get your question, there's sometimes we present a certain way. For instance, you're in a formal dinner. There's a code of behavior at that. So that is different from your core behavior. So at the dinner, we all have, dinner manners, dinner presentation, and all that. So that's what all of us are doing. So your behavior when all that is not there, how you present as yourself. I think the way I kind of check, because I understand what you're saying about you could actually, do this, and then, the person you're looking at is different from who you are. I always speak to myself and say, are you being true to yourself? Are you comfortable in your behavior? Are you playing to the gallery? Are you behaving this way, to please somebody or for a certain, or is this what you want to do, in this moment? Yeah. So there's that check. I am standing on this particular issue, on this, because I have deep convictions on it, not because everybody seems to be agreeing with it, or nobody seems to be agreeing, whatever the case may be. So there's that check, to constantly make sure you're being true to who you are. You're not, what are your reasons behind acting a certain way? Is it because somebody's watching and you're trying to please them? You ask yourself, we do it subconsciously, but if you're more intentional about it, you begin to see who you really are, and you begin to own it no matter what. Yeah. And it's something you kind of have to start doing to get used to it, to be able to kind of own it and be comfortable with it.
Absolutely.
Probably most of us probably do it, but not as we should, with intention, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know I said it in a probably very cryptic way. I was trying to say it in a way that is more not one-minded, narrow-minded. So, for example, say, like what you say, and I'm 100%, there are different behaviors and mannerisms we should definitely be respectful of. But for example, like even going back to the eating scenario of like, I know that there's been situations where, particularly say ladies have, maybe giggled a little too loud naturally, and then been told like, quieten down, it's embarrassing. So like, I think it's very important for us to always go back to honoring us, being respectful of the place, but also not always taking on that narrative or that kind of programming or expectation of others, because it makes them feel uncomfortable. So I think, if you're in a restaurant and you're just like, today I'm gonna really unleash everything I'm feeling, it's like, maybe pick your timing. But I think, if you are just naturally expressing yourself, which often someone is attracted to start with, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, actually, no, in this setting now, I don't want that version of you. I think that's when we need to check back in. We need to not only check back in with ourselves and be like, okay, actually, do I believe what I was just told about myself? Or is this maybe something that's trying to control me or dim me, or so I hope that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Especially the bit that you spoke about, dimming your light so that another person will feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
That is probably a no-no. And I guess the more we speak about these things, the more people get on to this kind of behavior and are more tolerant of people that are expressive or whatever. So
Yeah, absolutely. So thinking about, and I love that you addressed this, by the way, about essentially, and this was a big thing that I realized, that I was the common denominator in all situations because this followed me, you know? And it's only, I feel like, we can like have these incredible mentors and coaches, which I 100% know that so many people are going to reach out to you and you've changed so many lives already. But essentially, it goes back to us, doesn't it? It's us. We have to change that behavior or speak that truth, or like almost against the people pleasing odds, see actually as that group now where you're expressing them yourself and that's too much for them, or you're too sensitive for them, or too much of this. I now see these types of things. I reframe them. I see them very differently. I don't see them anymore as, oh my gosh, I need to stop this because now I'm losing friends or this. I actually see it as alignment. I see it as, well, I'm accepting you fully for you and how you're showing up and expressing yourself, whether that is the true version of you or not. So actually, I expect that back, and yeah, if me now showing up as the version of me that I feel alive and passionate and excited and energized in, if that's too much for you, then this is showing me that there's not an alignment. And there's no right and there's no wrong. But what I often notice, and I would love your take on this, is there was a time where I would enter a room and I would want to dance, okay? And everyone was either sitting, and you can see everyone's kind of playing the role, and I remember for so many years just wanting to dance. And then maybe this is a British thing, I'm not like saying, but I noticed that we'd have to go through the process of drinking, okay? And I didn't always want to do that. I was ready now, but I never showed this to someone. And so, I played the game, and then it would get to the point where I was almost too drunk then to enjoy the experience of actually, from my heart, my soul, whatever you wanted to call it, of just dancing. And so when I first really started this empowering journey, I remember I feel like opportunities come and they're presented to us again. And I remember walking in and it was like, again, I walked in and it was like everyone sat there, and although they weren't drinking, everyone's kind of sat tapping their feet, moving their hands slowly. And I just kind of read the room and I was like, I know you all want to dance. I know you want to. So do you know what? I danced, and to start with, I got the looks, I got the stares, I got the who does she think she is. But within 5 minutes of sitting in that, well, not sitting, dancing in that, and just really being like, no, I want to dance. There's nothing wrong in what I'm wanting to do right now. The music is playing, and that's the purpose of why we came here. Why wait? Everyone started dancing.
of course.
And so I feel like there's almost like, it's like, it will come, and I would love your take on this. It will come and it will just make it that little bit too uncomfortable to be like, shall I sit back down? And maybe I shouldn't do this. No, keep going.
So, there's this, would I say it's a rule of thumb, that people will want to do something, but they're waiting for the person to lead the way. They're waiting for the first person. Now, your story, I've imbibed it in what I do. So for instance, even at work, maybe I would organize an event, and how at the end, are there any questions? And then for a good 1 minute they decide.
Yeah, and then everyone asks.
Yes, and then they actually ask the question. So what I do, I come with a question and I open it up. Once I've asked that question, suddenly there's a barrage of questions.
Amazing.
So what it is it's human behavior, all everybody just trying to be a certain way. And I think again, it's them being controlled by one another. Nobody wants to look out of place. Everybody's is at this moment quiet, not dancing. So let me just follow everybody else. So it's that, and it's quite, what's the word? It frees your spirit when you can just do you without, because people will always follow. That your story, you should have seen my face. I'll just smile. I said, I know people just start dancing immediately. That's what people do. So I find that people are like that. And that's the second part of what I do, my education, is we should be more tolerant of people in the sense that, oh, you don't want to get up and dance, but I do. So, don't look at me funny. Encourage me, because I've done what you wanted to do, but you didn't have the guts to do it. So don't, look at me like, oh, she's up and dancing. No, I'm actually helping you if you thought about it.
Yeah.
So it's that, we don't want to be judged yet. Constantly, consciously, we're judging one another day in, day out. So it's that education of, let's be more open and in the way we see others. And if I do something that you normally wouldn't do, that doesn't mean that I'm different or whatever. It just means maybe in the moment, I'm let to do that thing. You should just be encouraging, if nothing else.
Yeah, I love
that.
So
it is quite interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see so many of those videos, don't you, of like whether, I don't know, it's CCTV and it was caught or whatever, but I like to believe that it was naturally done, of someone literally walking past another person kind of dancing. You see it a lot with children, and how many times does a child just free expressing themselves, and then you smile, and then you or you wave and you want to join in, but it's like when it's a child, it's almost like it's okay, and when it's like an adult, it's almost like, is she okay? Yeah, she's fine. She's happy.
Exactly. Well, I think people get used to you when they've seen you a couple of times do your thing. They
Yeah, I love that.
Amazing.
It's such a breath of fresh air speaking to you. So yeah, let's have a to inspire people, because I know there's going to be so many people that want to connect with you. Your challenges and all that you're doing, much more than just your challenges and your certificates. You've got so much going on. Like, it's incredible.
So these women, which I call the women that were left behind. So this project is about empowering them. It's about, getting them to feel that they really were not left behind, that they can still do anything they set their mind to do. This project is mostly in parts of Africa, which I've started, of course, is the start of the project, and it can go anywhere in the world. Wow. So if people want to get involved, happy to have them get involved in those kind of things.
I want to get involved. Wow. Incredible. I love that. So yeah, there's so much power in that, and not only, like what you say, for all women, which is super important, but really actually taking a step back and thinking, okay, you know what, more than just coaching, more than just using our voices, more than how we show up at a party, a dinner, whatever. How can I now, in this moment, really make a global impact, essentially? And I think that's incredible. And yeah, every single thing you have expressed today, I will share in the notes. And I'm sure there are going to be so many women that are going to reach out to you. And I think even anyone really who even wants to connect with you and know more about what you're doing, because I think in men understanding and knowing more about the woman and essentially how she wants to show up and be treated, it's all one, isn't it? It's all one.
Yeah,
it's very important. And even with that, often they don't always know the right way or the wrong. There's no right or wrong, but I mean, like, we're all literally performing from this programming, essentially. So, all of us in unison together, in union, just really reuniting, no one above, no one below, but beside, and walking together and honoring each other is super, super important. So, one thing that I love, 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 love to ask my beautiful guests, such as yourself, is if there was something just off the top of your head that you feel like someone listening right now would really, really need to hear, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that don't give up on yourself. Um, Root for yourself because nobody else is going to do that for you.
Yeah.
Root for yourself. Don't give up. Keep going. There is hope for the future. When you give up, the story ends. But if you don't, imagine the beautiful story that you're going to share with the world. So,
Oh, yeah, that's beautiful. And I love that you brought in that root for yourself, because that was one big thing other than reparenting that really changed my life, was the moment almost where I zoomed out of it being me and seeing it as someone else, and being like, okay, if this was my friend right now, someone I truly loved and cherished and supported, what would she need right now? And I offered that to her, and I think that's really, really beautiful. You bringing that up and mentioning that, and yeah, it's super, super empowering. So thank you so much.
thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me. Loved it.
You're so welcome.
Thank you for finally doing this.
Against all the odds, we did it.
Exactly.